Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. This coming from Marty Party here. Last liquidity injection was 2020, guys, and that was 5 years ago. The same liquidity has been cycling around the system since then. All price movements are institutional, so past whales and new corporates, accumulation in a pursuit to own the networks via stake and treasury strategies. So giving us some insight here, guys, money that is circulating in the markets is, it's still old money. The bear markets are created and used to get your tokens. Retail is insignificant until cheap new money returns, called quantitative easing. And this is why we're paying attention to the M2 money supply. So you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till distribution. In his opinion, he says, banks will be chartered to begin digital QE and not the Fed. The Fed will be bypassed. The Treasury will sell debt to banks that will issue stable coins and prop up the Treasury market until U.S. manufacturing is restored and capable in 2032. So a very extended outlook here from Marty Party. What I can agree on here is that we do need M2 money supply to enter the space. We are seeing, the crypto market just kind of wavering, just kind of waiting, pretty much just waiting for a big liquidity injection. This is XRP on the hourly. And as you guys can see, yesterday we were talking about XRP price sitting in around $2.17. Currently today, as of the time of this recording, we're seeing it about a cent lower, $2.16. What we're waiting for is XRP on the smaller time frame to get up above this trend line. This is the inverted head and shoulders pattern. It is now looking like it is making a double bottom, and we still have to get up above this level here, but that's just the micro time frame, guys. By and large, we still do need to see a big liquidity injection. M2 money supply needs to enter the space. Market cap is up by a little bit, but not by much, only by 0.65% today. CMC 100 is up by 0.45. We're still sitting at neutral, 57. It's up by a little bit since yesterday. Altcoin season at 22 out of 100. But the market is still relatively flat over the last 24 hours. We've seen Bitcoin go up by 0.62%. Ethereum's down by about 0.5%. XRP is fairly flat, sitting at about 0.1. BNB coin's up by a little bit. Solana's up by just over 1%. But as you guys can see, nothing is really ripping. We're just waiting for that, like I say, Bitcoin to really kind of take the market over. And once we do see Bitcoin take that market over, we will see altcoins like XRP really kind of take off. So Bitcoin currently sitting in and around 104,900, very, very close to $105,000 per coin. If I zoom out here on Bitcoin, you guys can see Bitcoin now trying to stay up above this level of support that we saw back here back in mid-May 2025. I have a feeling Bitcoin is going to try to retest this top. And then I think at that point, that is really when we are going to see Bitcoin make some real decisions. So even here, if I throw a Fibonacci on this latest mini trend, you guys can see Bitcoin trying to reclaim the 0.236. It is down by a little bit. This is the 4-hour chart, by the way. So still a ways to move up. That does buy us some time, guys. I know maybe some of you guys are sick of waiting. I know I am. This is courtesy of Crypto Insight UK. I don't trust a bounce here for XRP. This is the largest liquidity pool I've seen in a long time, to be honest. He says he'd be surprised if XRP did even touch this area. So the short-term setup, he is still thinking that we're going to see a bearish trend. So next I'll be discussing XRP, because if we get that flush down, I believe XRP might dip around $2. Looking at the liquidity chart for XRP, we can see the dense liquidity around the $2 mark. Of course, that is a psychological number too. In fact, this is the most concentrated liquidity on the short-term XRP chart. That doesn't necessarily mean we'll touch this area, but if we don't, it would leave me with some caution if we start to head higher. When we pair with the inverse head and shoulders pattern I've discussed on X, if the right shoulder forms to match the depth of the left shoulder, this would also bring us to the $2 level. Ideally, I'd like to see this level cleared. Again, we don't have to touch it, but it would make me feel a lot more confident in a move higher. If we do, it would sweep the local lows, and I believe many traders might turn bearish on XRP, setting us up for a reset to the potential upside. If Bitcoin, though, pulls back to that $100,000 level, it would make sense for XRP to follow suit and drop to that $2 mark as well. So currently, we're just waiting for Bitcoin to get up. But there still is the possibility that it could still go down. We're going to keep our eye on Bitcoin. So far, it's holding up quite healthily. But again, like I say, this ain't over till the fat lady sings. And what I mean by that is that we still have several months to go. Even just looking at historical Bitcoin trends, generally speaking, it does take 4 years for Bitcoin to get from its ultimate low to ultimate high, roughly give or take. And for more information on where I think this market's going to go, you can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoney. Money channel. That's where I'm giving a more detailed analysis on all these things, talking about them in a bit more depth and giving my Patreon subscribers actual targets on where I'm going to be selling out my XRP, my Bitcoin, Solana, and the $15,000 plus portfolio. So there you go. Check it out if you guys are interested. Jungle Inc. posting this. Now, this was a rumor. I don't think this is actually confirmed. I've been hearing the rumors, though, that Jerome Powell is going to be stepping down today, Monday. If true, it's not just a resignation, it's an admission. Powell's legacy, mega rate cuts heading into the election, sudden policy reversal weeks later. The timing wasn't economic, it was political, and everyone saw it. Now the Fed faces a credibility crisis at the worst possible moment. Markets are fragile, global risk is rising. The institutions need long-term, nonpartisan leadership. Powell is out of time and out of trust. This isn't just changing of the guard. It is a purge. So that is Jungle Inc.'s opinion. I did see this article here from Bazinga Crypto. Bettors on Polymarket, though, are not convinced about Jerome Powell's exit, as rumors did circulate that the Federal Reserve Chair would step down on Monday. So I don't have Polymarket up here, but they are not convinced. They're thinking it's just a rumor. The odds of the betting contract titled "Will Trump Remove Powell in 2025" remained unchanged at 12%, despite strong speculation on Twitter X regarding his resignation. According to the rules, the market will resolve to yes if Powell ceases to be Fed chair before December 31st. Over $838,000 has been wagered on this outcome as of this writing. So the odds are not in favor of Jerome Powell resigning. I'm guessing this is still just a rumor. Nevertheless, wanted to thank Jungle Inc., of course, wanted to thank Crypto Insight UK, and wanted to thank Marty Party just for posting that. We got an interesting connection here, guys, to Ripple partner Bitstamp. Wrath of Kahneman bringing this to our attention. Robinhood has obtained Lithuania's first crypto license. And you remember a few months ago, Robinhood also did purchase Ripple partner Bitstamp. The Bank of Lithuania has issued the country's first license for crypto asset services to Robinhood Europe, a subsidiary of the US-based fintech company Robinhood. The license shows Robinhood Europe to provide crypto asset custody, administration, and transaction services in Lithuania and across the European Union. The central bank did announce Robinhood Europe is part of the Robinhood Group, a brokerage firm founded in the U.S. in 2013. Earlier in April, the Bank of Lithuania also granted the company a Category A brokerage license. So a step in the right direction, obviously, for crypto custody services and crypto, trading services too. To date, 29 companies have applied to the central bank for a crypto asset service license, with 10 applications currently under review. Earlier this May, Lithuania's parliament extended the transition period, requiring crypto firms to obtain a license until the end of the year. Companies that fail to secure a license then will not be permitted to operate. So as of now, 374 crypto-related companies are registered in Lithuania, and I'm sure that number is going to grow. An interesting observation, though, that Robinhood, that does own Bitstamp, one of those original ODL providers for Ripple, that Ripple did also invest in, by the way. I think Ripple did only own a partial share of Bitstamp. But now that Robinhood has, in fact, obtained this Lithuania crypto license, and they are eligible to operate in Lithuania. So interesting news there. Wanted to thank the Wrath of Kahneman for posting that. Not that I take too much stock in what Martin Shkreli says. He did mention this, and I thought I'd bring it up. He mentioned this in a Zoom interview here. Finance a Lot bringing this to our attention. 3 key takeaways from Martin Shkreli. Basically, he thinks XRP is a scam. He thinks Satoshi Nakamoto's BTC wallet will be hacked due to weak encryption, and that Michael Saylor is manic and not sober in decision-making. You would think he was a BTC maxi by his first comment, but clearly he's got, a different kind of thought process here. Listen to this.
Do you think XRP is a scam?
I do.
Why?
Doesn't do anything. Nobody uses it. I think that Bitcoin is a lot like that too, but it's more Lindy for one. There's a greater, it's a widely distributed thing. I have a friend who owns over $1 billion of Bitcoin, and he's a famous entrepreneur. We actually mentioned his name in this podcast at one point. And, he said, Martin, I know Bitcoin's bullshit. But it's bullshit enough people believe.
So I'm just going to stop it there for a second. Clearly, Martin Shkreli has no idea what Ripple is doing, has no idea what the XRP ecosystem is, or how the XRP ecosystem is currently developing. So when you're not educated on the matter, you probably shouldn't make a comment. But I wanted to stop it there for a second just to bring that up. What he says about Bitcoin Next is kind of interesting, though.
I love Bitcoin in one part of my mind. In the other part of my mind, I agree with Warren Buffett. I mean, what the fuck is it? It's nothing. It's like old, crappy database, hard to update, hard to maintain. And I think one of the bearish things for Bitcoin, just to put a bow on this, is interesting, is when people figure out that those Satoshi tokens are gone, it's a big bearish catalyst because it's not so much that the tokens get sold. Yes, they might cause a panic sale or whatever. It'll bounce back from that. Even if they sell it to $1, they're going to walk it right back up. The bigger problem is that Satoshi is the mythology. The mythos of Bitcoin is a big part of it. Here's this mystery man that drops money, the new money on us and disappears. He doesn't even sell his own tokens. He just drops 100 billion too and says, I don't need it.
Right.
Maybe he's dead. Maybe he's not.
So he doesn't believe in Bitcoin. He brings up a very good point here about Bitcoin maximalists. The fact that it is, it's about the mythology. People believe in the mythology. This is why people believe in Bitcoin, and he tends to agree with Warren Buffett there. Now, he also does bring up an interesting point regarding Michael Saylor. It's later on in this interview. I'm not going to play the full clip, but I will link it in the description. Here's what he says.
I think it's really disingenuous for him to tell the people that there's no late time to buy Bitcoin. The 100,000x is over, man. We're never getting that again. If Bitcoin took over the entire financial system, it's maybe a 10x. So, it's a bit silly to sort of say, you got to get in Bitcoin. What you're trying to get people to mark up your position is what you're trying to do. And you don't see him sitting there saying, let's put Bitcoin in payments, because it can't be used in payments.
Yeah, no, right.
He's not, so to me, I think Saylor's a bit of a charlatan. Again, I appreciate his evangelism of Bitcoin, but it seems like this is more of a pump and dump for him than not a dump, just a pump and pump.
Yeah.
For him more than it is anything else.
All right.
And some people are okay with that. Some people want to pump and pump.
Well, it's trading at almost 2x NAV, so I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, it does bode well for Michael Saylor for Bitcoin to keep pumping. I think there is enough development, though, in the ecosystem for cryptocurrencies that Bitcoin will survive, and other cryptos, obviously, that do serve a purpose will too. The fact that, Martin Shkreli thinks XRP is a scam just goes to show you how little he knows. I do tend to agree, though, with his assessment of Bitcoin. It's really about the perception. I mean, even with gold, guys. I mean, think about it. Gold, how useful is it to us day to day? Yet look at how much it is worth. I mean, I could argue that fresh water is more useful to us, or oil, for example, and yet pound for pound, gold does trade for more. So it's perception, part of that. I'm sure some of you guys might disagree with me, but I wanted to thank Finance a lot there for posting that. Now, Green Eggs and Sam has made an appearance, retweeting out Scam Detective's tweet. Everything in my post is factual, talking about, what does he say? XRP has no legal clarity. No major institutions are backing it. Swift does messaging. XRP does not. All this stuff is false. I mean, Sam is, calling him out on it. FinCEN obviously has classified it. It does have full legal clarity now. Suggesting there is none is just dishonest. No major institutions are backing it. Well, obviously that's BS. The Bank of America, a major U.S. institution, MUFG and SBI, both Japanese institutions, are using XRP. Swift does messaging and XRP does not. That's pretty much why Ripple created RippleNet, a messaging and delivering system. The XRPL, not XRP, you know the difference, right? Can do messaging, but it's all going to be public on the ledger. And as he says, this is a dishonest point to make. Well, both platforms can do messaging, only one can do settlement, and guess which one that is? 0 CBDCs run on the XRPL. As far as I know, this is correct, but I don't think so either, because there were a few countries that were, at least testing CBDCs on the XRP ledger. So that, in fact, is still yet to be determined. Only Bitcoin is in the U.S. Reserve, suggesting that it will only ever be Bitcoin in the U.S. Strategic Reserve. That's also dishonest, and Trump has made comments contradicting this stance. So, be careful, guys. Always keep up on your research, too, because things are changing all the time. Your bro Quincy here also commenting, the trade volume from real-world asset tokenization is the adoption. For every asset that is tokenized, each time it's traded contributes to the demand for the network. Now, Quincy was just at XRP Las Vegas. I think he did moderate a panel or two. He's a developer, and he has a real good grasp of real-world asset tokenization. So, this how this type of mechanism is going to serve itself. So as its volume does increase for the tokenized assets, the liquidity demanded from crypto as a form of payment to facilitate these transactions also increases. This will allow for value appreciation to cover the liquidity demand and the ecosystem to grow with more capital to work with, and then the feedback loop does continue. So what he's saying here is, it's basically a self-serving system here. Real-world asset tokenization, adoption, more money comes into the system, volume increases, and then more money comes in and it just keeps going. So guys, this is how we're going to get price discovery in these markets, mature markets over time. The Crypto Basic also commenting on, XRP. Here's the price of one XRP if a total market cap reaches $35 trillion. Now, this is just commenting on the crypto market in general. Currently, the market is sitting at 3. If we go to 35 trillion, which is about 10x from here, it's about 3.28. As you guys can see. But if we continue with a strong crypto market and a strong uptrend, then we could see, we definitely see higher prices for many coins. Bitcoin continues to dominate the space, though, holding a massive 63.1% share. That's the other thing. Bitcoin dominance does still have to go down. And they talk about possible XRP price, okay? As the crypto market gains more attention in the US, experts are starting to make bold predictions about where things might go from here. One of these forecasts coming from market analyst Captain Toblerone, who believes the crypto market could grow massively during this bull run. And yeah, that is dependent on if we do see the real world utility or not, if we do see it coming in a meaningful capacity. And this is why I have the Patreon, because at this point we are at a fork in the road. Do we continue with a spec market, a 4-year cycle, or are we going to see a mega super cycle where we do see some cryptocurrencies, we'll call it 1% of cryptocurrencies, gaining most of the traction? This is why I have the Patreon, and you can follow me for my up-to-date predictions based on what I'm seeing in the market. But anyway, in particular, he does predict the total market cap could jump pretty much 10x to 35 trillion by the year 2026, which could mark a 929% increase from where we are today. And his breakdown estimates an XRP worth about $22 per coin. Of course, that would bring Bitcoin up to about $300,000, Ethereum up to $30,000, Solana up to $7,500, and XRP to $22. Now, a potential for a real world situation. I don't know if this is just straight math or if he's based this on other things. He talks a little bit about circulating supply. Don't forget, there will be more circulating supply in the ecosystem when that happens. Well, when that happens, I guess. Meanwhile, earlier this year, XRP did reach a point in the market dominance of about 5.58%. But guys, remember, if 99% of these cryptocurrencies just fall to the wayside because they're garbage, they're useless, they're not used to serve any kind of purpose, the money is going to go into those cryptocurrencies that do serve a purpose. And, this is what Brad Garlinghouse has been suggesting all along. The purpose to create a real financial system that can make a difference. And so that brings me to this, Versan, with a couple of great tweets here. Okay, the US Treasury could reprice gold, tokenize debt with the RLUSD and peg it to gold, solving the debt crisis in one move. Now, he was interviewing Francis Hunt here. The video is linked in this tweet, which I will link in the description of this video. Listen to this.
Whether they kick the can down the road or whether we do have a debt default, we end up going back to gold. That's just how it is. If the US Treasury right now can take the debt and they could tokenize it and peg it to gold and have a reevaluation, they can stabilize the currency and maintain the liquidity that is needed to finance the government and emerging economies. And also, President Trump does hold the executive authority that could facilitate such a move, similar to what happened in 1933, which essentially did reset America's monetary system. So this could happen again. What do you think?
I think it's underspoken of, and it's very real risk. This is the interesting thing. Most people, you have the bell curve. Most people live in the fat of the belly. And when you're in extreme times, you should be expecting extreme events.
So are extreme events, you heard him there, extreme events, are the extreme events coming? Are we going to see that injection of liquidity? Because we have not seen one since 2020. As I mentioned at the top of this video, we do have, rumors that Jerome Powell might be stepping down. And even if he's not stepping down immediately, there could in fact be plans going on behind the scenes. The other thing I wanted to mention was this, bringing it back to 1996. This 96 NSA article, How to Make a Mint, references Tatsuaki Okamoto. Is it a coincidence David Schwartz, one of the original architects of the XRP ledger, began work with the NSA the same year his patent was accepted? David Schwartz is Satoshi Nakamoto, or at least it is purported that he is one of them, hidden in plain sight. Guys, Tatsuaki Okamoto, again from 1996. That sounds oddly like Satoshi Nakamoto. They also talk about cryptology here, Crypto 93. Again, remember, this is a 1996 paper, years before, almost a decade and a half before Bitcoin was released. We know about the David Schwartz NSA connection. Has it been hidden in plain sight this whole time? Has this been the plan for Ripple to take over the financial system? And is 35 trillion just the beginning? To get XRP up to $22 per coin, I don't know, that's just my opinion. And for more opinions on where I think this market could go, if we do see more real world utility, you can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel to get more insight on that. Guys, I also have the Working Money Channel merch store. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, maybe purchasing some Working Money Channel merch, link is in the description. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.